Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive.
Hey guys, welcome back to Steadfast RC. Welcome back to the workbench. Batrazzi. Can you guess what this video is about? You probably already read the description. So, Fair RC was cool enough to send me not one, but two of the track sets, the new Batrazzi track sets for their vehicles. And today we're going to be trying them out on several different vehicles. I'll show you those just in a second. But they didn't just send me those. They also sent me the Astroth motor, which is a 32-turn 130 size motor. It's supposed to be higher torque for the tracks. First, we're going to try it without this motor, just to see how the stock motor does, and then we'll try the Astroth motor. They also sent me this Batrazzi, it's like a key tool thing. It's got a super sharp serrated blade on it, and a can opener. Looks like you could cut small rope. It's got a screwdriver on the end of it, lanyard, multi-tool cut out there for different size nuts. So, pretty cool. And crazy thing they sent me, I don't really understand this. This was in the bottom of one of the boxes. It's just this. A little treasure chest with like a pirate skull in it. Not really sure what that's about. So, yeah, that was in the box. Maybe it's because it's close to Halloween or something, not really sure. Anyway, comes with instruction manuals, of course. We got the heat sinks. They say you really want to make sure you put a heat sink on the motor when you're running these tracks, of course, because it'll pull more power through the motor versus turning just regular tires, you know. And here's some mounts for the tracks. We'll get into all this stuff in a little bit. Let's look at the rigs that these are going to be tested on. So our three test vehicles for these tracks are going to be the FCX24, the original 24th scale crawler from FMS. I love this thing. I've had it for about a year and a half now. Super great vehicle. Can't wait to try the tracks on this one. We got the Rock Van, the Hobby Plus Rock Van. This is the first generation, single speed, portal gears, and we should be able to slap the tracks right on those portals. And then we're going to be testing them on the FMS K5, one of their newer releases, and we'll see how they run on all three of these vehicles. Looking forward to testing them on all of these. We'll find some sand, some loose dirt, some mud, and see how these vehicles do with them. The van is going to be particularly cool, I think. Anyway, let's get to it, and we'll do an installation video on the FCX24. Should be the same installation on all three of these vehicles. Let's get into it, guys. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and take the body completely off of the FCX24. Check out that cool decal on the back of it there. That's not factory. And you guys probably all know how to pop these off by now. They're pretty easy. And I'm going to take out the battery just because we don't need that extra stuff in the way while we're working here. And then we're just going to pull off all four wheels. I'll be back with you when I get that done. You guys know how to do that. So I just opened up the assembly instructions included here just to give a quick read through and see what we're doing. If there's anything that might catch me by surprise. Here's a nice exploded view and an entire parts list down here. That's really cool they do that. And I see the different brackets are numbered. Looks like 1, 2, 3. We'll look for numbers stamped on those. And it just shows you how to put them together. Looks like over the portals. Looks pretty basic. So let's get to it. Okay, I see what they did here. They stamped numbers on each one of these. So the ones, according to the manual, look like they're supposed to go on the back. And then 3 looks like it is the front passenger side, this one. The camera's not focusing real great. And then number 2 looks like it's the driver's side front. So these are just the brackets that actually hold these to the portals, mount the tracks to the portals. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to do is take out these lower screws on the portal housings, and we're going to replace them with the longer screws that came with the tracks right here, because you're going to have additional thickness with these track mounts, so you need a little bit longer screw. Okay, so the number ones go in the back. We're going to grab one of these longer screws, just mount this to the bottom of the portal housing. Cool thing about this, having this bracket down here, is it looks like it's going to give us a lot more lift as well. So this thing's going to be sitting pretty high, looks like, which will be especially beneficial for the rock van, because that thing has not the greatest breakover angle when you're crawling over stuff, just because it's long and sort of low. Not real low, but this will definitely help the rock van as far as clearance. And then we got the number 2 stamped that goes in the front. So we're just going to do the same up there. And I'm not going to put Loctite in here just now because I'm going to be taking these off again shortly and putting them on a different vehicle for our different test videos. But if you guys are going to leave these on here, you know, permanently, and you do have the brass upgraded portals like I do, it's a good idea to put a little bit of blue thread lock on them. If you're running plastic portals though, don't put thread lock on them, because thread lock is not good for plastic. Okay, so the tracks come assembled, and so we're just going to come in here and push out one of these track pins from this side to that side. The other side has a larger head, so it's only going to push in one direction. I'm going to get my little vice grips to hold on to this because it's kind of cutting into my hand a little bit. And just find any one of these track pins that are going to want to push out. And then once you get it moving a little bit, you can come in with something like some side cutters or some forceps and just pull the track pin clear out. Then once you do that, that's going to allow the track to separate. And you have to do this in order to install the drive wheel, which is right here. So that goes on here like that, locks into your hub, same as a normal wheel would. Then you're going to pull this cover off here, which is a 1.5 millimeter Allen head screw. And then underneath that is this, has a shoulder right here that's going to go on here, and it's going to screw on just like a normal wheel nut. Get that locked down. So that's mounted to your outdrive on your portal. Then you take the rest of the track right here, the rollers, and the cover that we just took off a second ago with the screw. And that's going to mount right back on here. And this again is another spot for some thread lock if you guys are going to keep these on here for a while. Like I said before, we're going to be moving these around to different vehicles, so I'm not going to worry about the thread lock right now. Okay, so we got the rollers mounted. This tensioner roller right here, you can see right there, there's a really small Phillips head screw. It's a little boy, so if you take that out, you're going to want to keep a real close eye on that, because it'll be easily lost. So that's all mounted, and oh, that's the tensioner also. So it's on the looser tension right now. If you pull that screw out, say these tracks break in a little bit, pull that screw out, move it to the other hole, it'll tension your tracks a little bit. We're just going to wrap the track around the wheels like it was before. And then we're going to take our pin that we pulled out earlier and just get it started, feel where it's lining up, and just shove it through the track links again. And use the back side of that just to push so it's not digging into my finger. They seat in there really well, so I'm not worried about that coming apart. And there's one track complete, guys. See, it'll swivel. Okay, now that we have the track mounted, good to go. We just need to do one more thing, and that is to take 2 of these brass bushings right here, and then we're gonna put those in these holes here, and I'll show you what that does here in a second. Don't need to go crazy tight on them because it's just into plastic, so just get them snug. Make sure the track still can rotate freely, and what those do is limit your rotation so the track's not going to just sit there and flop around, you know, like turn too far. So there's one track fully installed, guys. Not a big deal at all to do. We're going to do that for the other 4 corners, and I'll get back with you. Okay, guys, so the track install is complete. I have a few pro tips for you guys now that I've done 4 of them. Make sure that your idler pulley right here, your tensioner pulley, is facing forward whenever you install these. I started to put one on backwards. I mentioned earlier that you put in one of these screws as stoppers to keep the tracks from rotating too far like that, but there's actually 2 that go in each one with the brass sleeves. Overall, pretty basic install. There's not a lot to say about it. One more thing that I did find was, as opposed to pushing these pins out from the backside with a small drill bit, I found it easier just to get a pair of side cutters or flush cutters and just grab underneath the head of the pin and just pull it out. That was easier for me. Other than that, the install was really easy. Now that I've done it, I could probably do a set in like 10 or 15 minutes. Not a big deal. And the cool thing is, once you have these installed, if you have multiple rigs we're going to be testing them on like I do, all you have to do is pull out this one screw right here, pull this whole portal assembly off, put it on your other rig in place of its portal assembly, just one screw, and you're in business. You don't have to do this whole assembly and disassembly every time you want to move it to a different vehicle, as long as it's a compatible vehicle. So only one thing left to do, guys, is to install the heatsink on the motor. And FMS recommends that you pull off the sticker for maximum heat transfer. So see if that thing will peel off. Ideally, you'd get a heat gun on this, but oh, that's coming off nice and clean anyway. Not too much residual glue. And then I wonder if we can just snap this over in place. Might have to take the motor out. I'm not sure. Nope. Nope, it snaps on. Kind of roll it underneath there. Gotta get it to go just a tad further. There we go. Heatsink is installed, and we're ready to go. Let's go out and test this thing out, guys. Let's find some good conditions that would suit tracks. You know, obviously you're not going to be rock crawling very much with tracks. I'm sure you'll be able to somewhat. We'll test it on the rock course. We'll also find some sand, mud, dirt, loose terrain that is more suited for tracks.